Under the Trump economic plan, we will cut your energy prices in half within, mark it down, and you can get very angry at me if we don't do it. Within 12 months, your energy prices will be cut in half. My plan will cut energy prices in half or more than that within 12 months of taking office. Number one, your energy bill within 12 months will be cut in half, and that's my pledge all over the country. Beyond farmers, that's my pledge all over the country. If you vote for me, I will cut your energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months. We're going to cut them down in half. And under my plan, we will cut energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months. And that means for your homes, too. I will cut.
New concerns about the cost of living. Gas prices jumped this week as the war in Iran escalates. Right now, a gallon of regular averages $4.11 nationwide. That's up 12 cents from last week. Gas prices are highest in California, lowest in Arkansas. Americans are also experiencing the biggest jump in grocery prices in a half a century, up 33% since 2019. CBS is...
This is wild, and I want to make sure you don't miss it. We all know that Donald Trump said, on day one, I'm going to get prices down for Americans, right? Look at what's happening now. This is a brand new poll from The Guardian. It just came out today. Half of Americans struggle to afford groceries and gas. Half of Americans. Guardian calls this a grim portrait of cost of living crisis and says that about 57% of polled Americans also believe the economy is worsening, because it is. The poll also says that 95% of Americans now believe the U.S. is suffering an affordability crisis. 95%! And this is not just Democrats, y'all. Pessimism about the economy has increased for all Americans of all parties. Look at that, just whoop, for everyone. In February, 22% of Republicans said the economy was getting worse. Now that's up to 38% of them, of Republicans. Then they asked people whether they thought jobs in their area were disappearing. Look at rural Americans. 41% of them say good job opportunities in their local area are disappearing. By the way, when it comes to rural Americans, 64% of them now say the economy is getting worse, compared with 46% who said that in February. And again, look at these specific numbers. The percentage who responded they are having trouble affording gas, 52%, groceries, 51%, loan payments, 46%, utilities, 46%. Oh, and don't forget, half of those polled said they're struggling to afford their debt, including student loan debt. This is the economy after a year and a half of Donald Trump and the Republicans in full control. But don't worry, because Donald Trump is on the job, if you consider the job building a new helipad on the White House lawn.
Beautiful helipad. And it's got the seal of the White House on it, in granite, in carved granite. It's a beautiful thing.
A beautiful thing, he says. But as for this, oh well, he doesn't have an opinion about it at all, because as far as he's concerned, it's not true, it's not real, and your struggles are fake news. And if you're not mad about that, you should be extremely.
Trump has pocketed at least $1.4 billion. This is all in his first year. This is an astonishing level, unprecedented level of corruption. $23 million in licensing deals for overseas real estate projects, a new hotel in Oman, a new golf course in Saudi Arabia, just to name a couple. $28 million from Amazon for a documentary about Melania Trump. $90 million from various other technology and entertainment companies like X and Paramount in the form of legal settlements. When Trump goes to battle with these corporations, it is leverage and conflict of interest at its worst. Then, of course, there's the $400 million jet from the government of Qatar, which Trump has said he plans to take with him when he leaves office. And then more than $850 million from his crypto coin schemes. People who hope to influence federal policy, including foreigners, can buy his family coins now, effectively transferring money to the Trumps, and the deals are often in secret. And this is just the first year of his second term. He still has 3 more years to go to rack up even more grift off of the American taxpayer. 1 year ago, Donald Trump swore an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and to serve the American people. But Donald Trump doesn't care about the Constitution. Clearly, Donald Trump is selling you out while he lines his own pockets.
Quick question for the farmers in Arkansas who are begging for government handouts. Weren't you the crowd that wanted to take away benefits from hungry school kids? Weren't you guys cheering on the end of USAID?
In Arkansas, Frustration is boiling over. Many Trump voters are now facing rising prices, lost jobs, and broken promises. What was once hope for economic revival has turned into hardship and doubt. In this video, you'll hear real stories from Arkansans living through the meltdown. Listen closely. The truth is unfolding.
I made a video about how I'm moving to California from Arkansas, and there seems to be some confusion on that video. I just want to clear it up. I know that there are maggots in every state, fully aware, but I do want to say that it's a completely different than what it's like here. If you've not lived in the Deep South, you have literally no idea what it's like living here. I was born in Arkansas. I've lived in 9 other states, but I was born here, and it's hell.
Arkansas utility rates are about to go way up, and it's to pay for infrastructure projects in Texas? What? Well, let me tell you how we got here, okay? The Southwestern Electric Power Company, we call it SWEPCO, is requesting a rate increase to collect $80 million for a $136 million project. That's the total cost of the project. So that represents an average 27% increase on most utility bills. That's the kicker. They're asking us in Arkansas to pay for 60% of this project. It's being built in Texas. Arkansas residents only make up 23% of their customer base. This is their service area. Do you really think Arkansans benefit from this the most? Why are we paying for 60%? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because our state lawmakers sold us out.
So the people who say no handouts just lined up for a handout. Now tell me why farmers in Arkansas are standing outside with their hands out again, begging Uncle Sam for money. See, when it's regular people struggling, rent too high, groceries too ridiculous, can't afford health care, the answer is always from these people: stop complaining, stop asking for handouts, and pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Farmers in Arkansas are crying out to the feds for stimulus money like it's open mic night. And look, I get it, because times are hard everywhere. But when you plant your crops, raise your cattle, take on the risks of farming, I mean, wasn't that a personal business decision? So why is it on me and you to make sure that that decision keeps paying out? Because see, when you and I make bad decisions, government doesn't cut us a check to make it right for us. Now, let's connect the dots here a little bit. These are the same people voting for the same politicians who say government is the problem. Yet as soon as the tractors stop running and their profits dry up, government magically turns into a solution for them. Ain't that funny and ironic?
Hey, Arkansas, you know this guy, Tom Cotton? You should. He's sold you out a few times now. I have to assume that a person like this gets into office because the people that are his constituents don't know that they have a better choice. But you do have a choice. This is Hallie Schaffner. She's running for his seat in the U.S. Senate. And she is not a career politician. She's a 6th-generation farmer from Arkansas.
Listen to me. Racism is the poison in Arkansas soil. That's right, racism. Last week, hundreds of Arkansas farmers stood in a room and broke down in prayer in front of their elected officials. They weren't praying for rain, guys. They weren't praying for sunshine. They weren't even praying for a bumper crop. They were praying because their farms, their family land, their way of life is collapsing under tariffs and trade wars. And here's the truth. Those tariffs, that trade war, that whole playbook was born out of racism. Farmers were told the story that punishing foreigners would make America strong again. They were told to clap when leaders wagged their finger at China, Mexico, or whoever else they decided was the villain of the week. They were told it was patriotism, but really it was racism dressed up in red, white, and blue, and farmers bought it. They cheered it. They co-signed it. And now they are the ones paying the bill.
Yesterday, there was a mandatory Zoom meeting between the Department of Education and all the directors of any daycares and early childhood education centers here in Arkansas. During that mandatory Zoom meeting, the directors of the daycares were told that the Arkansas voucher program was about to be cut significantly.
Hey, all you Arkansas farmers, y'all struggling right now. You had to put your crops in the ground, didn't you? All that soybean, corn, rice, peanuts, whatever the hell else you're growing out there in Arkansas, because you voted for a guy who's number 2, owns a company that does nothing but buy farmland from farmers who have gone bankrupt.
My name is Marla Berger, and I live in Bella Vista, Arkansas. And previously, I voted for Donald Trump the first time that he ran because I believed in the direction Republicans were going with our country, and I felt like his business sense would be good for our country. As Donald Trump's presidency progressed, and I continued to see just an utter lack of self-control on his part, January the 6th was an absolute turning point for me. When our own president attempted to lead an insurrection against our government, that was the moment that I said enough. Donald Trump has absolutely no respect for the office of president, nor does he have respect for the American people.
I can't get my diabetes injections anymore because they went from $76 to $499 a month. These injections literally keep my A1C and my blood sugar at bay. But because...
Now that sucks. And you almost had me. I was this close to actually feeling bad for you. That close. And let me show you what changed my mind.
It's a sick joke. But if you're a crackhead or you're poor or anything else, everything gets handed to you on a silver platter. But if you're middle class working, it's like you're just absolutely screwed.
I live in rural Arkansas, and if you don't understand why people in rural Arkansas or rural America vote Republican, it's because of fear and jealousy. Jealousy that somebody has it better than they do, that they work their asses off, and most of them do. The education here is at the bottom of the tier. Maternal mortality, low. Education, low. Quality of living, low. Infrastructure, super low. There's no industry. There's no hope for these young kids in rural Arkansas to have a job. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is treating this like her personal money bank. There is no infrastructure here. The roads are So my closest grocery store, besides Walmart, is 2 hours away. So if I go that 2 hours to go to that grocery store, the roads I have to take are barely have enough room for two people to pass each other. There is no cell phone coverage for over an hour and a half of that ride. And there's no hope to get those roads fixed anytime soon because there's no money. I say that, but lo and behold, what did Sarah do as of July of 2025? She has loaned and bought $55 million worth of Israeli bonds. So she's loaned Israel $55 million with a catch to give them 100 more million by the end of the year. When her people are starving, they have no medical care. Teenage girls here are living at home pregnant with their moms. And they're living at home with their moms and their boyfriends. Because that's how rural America lives. There's nothing for these kids to look forward to. So why would they ever vote Republican? Because that's what they're told to do. $150 million would go a long way to feed, get medical attention, and up our so that our children here in Arkansas don't die in infancy and the mothers don't die in childbirth. And that is rural America. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She is the worst governor okay, she's second. Our neighbor Texas Abbott is worse, but she's a close second.
Arkansas state troopers will double as ICE agents under Trump administration program. Now, Arkansas state troopers will be working with ICE. Unfortunately, what that means is there'll be more stops, and unfortunately, Arkansas state troopers will be calling ICE on individuals, and that'll be increasing the arrest. That'll be increasing a lot of these horrible situations that we're seeing right now in Arkansas and across the country. Very frustrated.
It appears as though you were suffering the first consequence for your actions in your entire life. You were told in excruciating detail what was going to happen if you voted for Donald Trump. And because you didn't believe anyone, you voted for him anyway. And now your crops are rotting in the fields because he deported all of your workers. Your money is drying up because there's no one to buy these crops from you because he shut off all exports due to this weird global game that he has no clue how to play. And it appears as though you generational farmers are going to be losing the land that has been in your families for generations. And so you're begging to be bailed out so that that doesn't happen. We're not doing it this time. You've managed to get away throughout your entire lives and your entire careers of having no consequences for the choices that you make.
the choices that affect others but never affect you, because you always get a government bailout. You don't want your tax dollars to go to the welfare queen who's using food stamps to feed her kids, but you've got your hand out like Mona Lisa Saperstein asking for money anytime anything goes slightly wrong for you.
Across Arkansas, working families are feeling the strain, farms struggling, small towns shrinking, and once loyal voters questioning everything. The movement they believed in promised strength, but for many, it's led to economic pain and growing disillusionment.
And now, disaster survivors of Arkansas left homeless by recent tornadoes have been blocked from receiving any federal recovery. And the President, Donald Trump, has rejected the state's request to declare a major disaster in March. So they are on their own. So I want to know from you MAGA'S and stuff like that, why isn't the government stepping in and doing enough?
I'm so proud of the fact that Arkansas was the first state in the country to kick a Chinese-owned company off of our farmland and out of our state, and we made them pay for it, very Trump-esque.
If you drain the swamp, but the swamp is where you get your water, you can't then question why you're thirsty when there's no water left.
Arkansas. This should make your blood boil. According to roll call on October 16th of this year, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins confirmed that SNAP funding will run out in 2 weeks because of the government shutdown. But let's talk about what that means for Arkansans. 240,000 Arkansans, nearly 11% of all households in our state, depend on SNAP to eat.
Arkansas farmers are taking their own lives because of what's happening to their farms because of Trump's policies. And it's only going to get worse for farmers because this is all laid out in Project 2025. So in Project 2025, the plan is to roll back all of the protections that farmers currently have access to. Basically, there's different programs. There's insurance, crop insurance. There's these commodities programs. And most of these are either subsidized or paid for by the government. So farmers, if a small farm gets hit with, a weather disaster or something else happens where they can't profit off their crop like they usually do, they're backed up. They're safe. They can, float for another year because of these programs. They want to get rid of these programs. They want to take the burden of these programs off the government and put it back onto the farmers, meaning these small farms get hit with one disaster and they're fucked. They're done. Guess who won't be done, though, if they get hit with one disaster? Giant mega corporations, these huge corporate farms that have all the capital they need to float if they get hit with a disaster. They're not going to go under. What they're going to do is buy up all these little farms and consolidate them into these giant mega farms. That's what the plan is.
I know y'all know that I'm from Arkansas. All my folks are from Arkansas. And I have lived here most of my life. So when I tell you that I have an invested interest in what goes on in Arkansas, I truly mean it. I was looking at some very interesting numbers last night. It seems that between 435,000 up to 640,000 people in Arkansas use Medicare. And I think the discrepancy is that they're not always counting on the lower end the Medicare policies that people have to purchase in order to supplement their Medicare so that it works better for them. But there are almost 500,000 people on Medicaid and using the resultant other benefits that go along with that, like SNAP and public housing and things like that. And over 835,000 people are on Social Security. Considering that Arkansas has a population total of a very little over 3 million people, if I add those numbers up correctly, that's almost half, if not more than half, of the entire population of Arkansas uses these social programs to survive.
Welcome to Arkansas, friends, a state so drenched in contradictions it makes Kafka look like a realist. The trees are green, the river's still running, the hogs still rooting the dirt. The government is a damn carnival of absurdities masquerading as policy. A sideshow of misplaced moral crusades, anti-poor legislation, and Bible-thumping nonsense wrapped in the American flag and dipped in barbecue sauce.
So guys, I saw this video of a bunch of Arkansas farmers all gathered up and praying, not for rain or for good crops, but for God to save them from the tariffs put into place by the guy they voted for, Donald Trump. And all I can say is, yeah, good luck with that one.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
First, my opinion, again, Lord, it's only my opinion. You're closer to me than anything else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. Dear Lord, we're hurting you, Lord. We can't help what's happened to us.
Because that's like lighting your own house on fire and then standing outside with a garden hose asking for the heavens to put it out.
Well, the president has finally done it. We've always known that he did not care about the American people and our rising costs, but now he has finally said the quiet part out loud. And I quote, "I don't think about Americans' financial situation." And the truth of the matter could not be any clearer. He could give a rat's ass about the American people or about our rising costs. Over the last year, the president and this administration have engaged in a tremendous smash and grab, enriching themselves, enriching his family, enriching his allies. They have loot hanging all out of their pockets. They have enriched themselves so much. Yet yesterday, the average gas price in Maryland hit $4.46. The cost, we understand, of keeping a roof over your head and food on your table continues to rise. Unfortunately, the Republicans here in Congress have decided to be more loyal to this administration than to the American people. They have claimed that they would lower costs if they had control of Congress. Well, you know what? They control it all, and look at what they have done. Yet we're here with this bill that is, again, further proof of what they're thinking about. And trust me, it is not about working Americans. Nothing in this bill talks about relief on grocery prices. It doesn't talk one word about lowering gas prices. Not a single sentence dedicated to lowering health care expenses, cutting utility bills, or reducing the cost of housing. But congressional Democrats haven't forgotten. While we're here, we have not forgotten who we work for. We have not forgotten who we fight for. We will not stop fighting to drive down costs and ease the burdens that are weighing on American families.
So are we all laughing at these farmers from Arkansas that had the fucking nerve to vote for Donald Trump, yet here they are asking for a government bailout because their fucking farms aren't making any money? No.
How are your other farmers, for your friends, feeling? I know a lot of them are Trump supporters. Do they still feel good?
Everybody's pretty nervous. Everybody's pretty scared. There's some of the older guys that, farm out of their pocket. They're like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not giving back 30 years worth of work. Everybody's scared to death.
You said you wanted to use state resources to assist in those deportations. What resources is Arkansas going to be using to deport people?
Well, we're going to work closely with the federal government. This is a president who was very clear on the front end what he was going to do starting on day one, and it should come as a surprise to no one that Donald Trump is actually delivering on what he campaigned on.
The funniest shit ever. So this guy, for years, was always flowing those Trump flags. Well, nah, he turned the motherfucker upside down because Trump is fucking all the farmers. Look at this shit.
So I saw that the soybean farmers in the state of Arkansas are having a find out phase. And you know what I hate to say? I told you so. No, seriously, I'm really sick and tired of the fact that the left keeps having to say, I told you so. Because we didn't want anybody to suffer, okay? We voted for everybody to survive and thrive. And you voted for the suffering of other people, and here we are. You are actually the one who is paying the price and suffering.
He is a fifth-generation farmer who works nearly 5,000 acres in the region. His primary crops are soybeans and rice.
We produce more acres of rice in Arkansas than any other state in the United States. This is one of my unplanted fields right here. I'm not able to sell anything off this field. This field should be lush full of soybeans right now, but it's not.
We're looking at 1 to 3 farms. 1 out of every 3 farms going out of business right now.
Concerns are growing here at home about what the shutdown could mean for SNAP benefits next month. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer shows us why advocates say the impact could be serious for families across the state.
Everyone who's eligible for October benefits will receive those benefits.
November is questionable depending on how long the shutdown goes.
Questionable. That's how the Arkansas Department of Human Services describes the outlook for SNAP benefits come November. Right now, more than 222,000 Arkansans rely on the program.
So SNAP becomes a really critical program to ensure that children and families, including seniors, veterans, people with disabilities, have access to critical food assistance to make sure that they're getting nutritious food for all of their meals.
Kristen Harper, Policy Director for Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families, says losing SNAP, even for a short time, would be a big deal for a state already struggling with hunger.
Arkansas is actually the most food insecure state in the nation. We have a food insecurity rate at 18.9% compared to 13.5% nationally.
DHS says if funding runs out, they'll encourage people to turn to local food pantries and programs, but advocates warn those resources could quickly be stretched thin.
We're going to see food banks potentially become overwhelmed with requests that they can't necessarily meet.
Harper says she's urging Arkansans to reach out to lawmakers to end the shutdown and protect programs that help families afford food and health care.
Many of the families who access SNAP, they have children in those families. Our SNAP program, they have very strict working requirements and things like that. So most people who are accessing SNAP are working.
Covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
DHS stated between October of last year and August of this year, over 156,000 applications for SNAP benefits have been approved.
I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
You said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the second generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Release the files! 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 Release the files!
Today, dozens of folks came out to make their voices heard at the state capitol as part of a peaceful protest against the Trump administration. One of the event organizers says the administration isn't looking out for them when it comes to their rights.
We really want them to pay attention to what the people want and stop trying to criminalize anyone that's not white and anybody that's queer.
Well, some large banners are being hung tonight on a pedestrian bridge in Little Rock in protest of the Trump administration. Let's take a look right now. This demonstration is organized by a group that calls itself the People's Protest and Marches of Arkansas. They've been behind multiple anti-Trump protests here in the capital city.
This is a great question for all the videos I see of the farmers out in Arkansas crying and begging that the government isn't bailing them out and the government isn't giving them funding that they need to keep their farm afloat. What are you, a socialist? A communist? Why do you want the government to bail you out? That's not our responsibility. I didn't take out a loan on a farm. That's yours. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, right? This is a great question. Why are farm loans forgiven under bankruptcy law when student loans are not? Good question.
Quick question for the farmers in Arkansas who are begging for government handouts. Weren't you the crowd that wanted to take away benefits from hungry school kids? Weren't you guys cheering on the end of USAID? Were you guys happy about WIC going away? Because you didn't think that people should be receiving government handouts. You were all like, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. But now you feel entitled to government handouts? So socialism for me and not for thee? Do you even know how hypocritical that sounds? There's a saying my grandmother taught me, and it definitely applies to farmers in Arkansas. You reap what you sow, and what you sowed was hate. And now you are losing everything. I'm not happy about that. My step-grandparents were farmers. I grew up visiting a dairy farm every week. I know farmers work hard, but I also know farmers tend to be very stuck in old-fashioned thinking. And it's time for you to wake up. That's what we mean when we say woke. Wake up and see how your hate is actually negatively impacting not just the lives of other innocent people, but you. Do I think the government is going to actually come through and give farmers a handout? Probably. But should you take it when you've already denied those kinds of help to innocent school kids, starving kids overseas? I don't think so.
What's happening in Arkansas is more than politics. It's personal. Families who once placed their faith in promises of prosperity are now struggling to stay afloat. The economic pain is real, and the frustration runs deep. These stories expose the human cost of failed leadership and misplaced trust. But they also reveal a truth. Understanding what went wrong is the first step toward real change. If this message resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to keep these voices heard. And click the video on your screen to see more of what's really happening across America today.
Thank you for staying tuned and thank you for watching those amazing clips. Now, for many families in Arkansas, the biggest issue today is not about politics. It's the rising cost of living. Across the state, some voters who supported President Trump have shared concern about high grocery bills, rising rents, expensive healthcare, and increasing cost of everyday essentials. Many say that paycheck simply does not stretch as far as they used to. Some blame inflation and global economic challenges. Others believe government policies have made life more expensive. No matter where they place the blame, one thing most people agree on is that making ends meet has become much harder. Small business owners like farmers, especially farmers across Arkansas, are complaining bitterly, which is giving them a headache. And most of them are now lamenting and now demanding for government support, for bailout to ease things to their farm. Also feeling the pressure as operating costs continue to rise, while many families are cutting back on spending just to stay within their budget. As the next election approaches, economic issues like job, inflation, and affordability are expected to remain at the center of political debate. For many voters, the question is simply who has the best plan to lower costs and improve everyday life. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell for more updates on US politics and current events. Thank you. See you on the next one.